West Coast bars join Vax coalitions to give customers some peace of mind. We believe we are obligated to protect our workers and their families, and to offer a safe space for customers, the San Francisco Alliance of Bar Owners wrote. Bars in Portland, Oregon, Seattle and San Francisco have joined together to create Vax coalitions that will only allow customers inside who can prove they've been vaccinated. 15 bars in Portland have already joined the informal Vax coalition, and an additional 20 are expected to sign up Monday, Teardrop Lounge owner Daniel Shoemaker told Willamette Week. At least one of the establishments is requiring proof of vaccination, or a negative COVID-19 test within 48 hours of bellying up to the bar. Late last month, 300 bars in the San Francisco Bar Owners Alliance announced they would require customers to show proof of vaccination or a negative test in order to sit inside. It's one of the largest pro-vax industry efforts in the nation, Forbes reports. We believe we are obligated to protect our workers and their families, and to offer a safe space for customers to relax and socialize, the Alliance told the Associated Press in a statement. But the group hopes that requesting proof of vaccination might also influence some who have not yet received vaccinations to do so as soon as they can, the statement read. We understand that the only way our society and our businesses can ever return to true normalcy is through higher rates of vaccinations among our residents, the Alliance added. The only fallout the groups have reportedly experienced so far is from online anti-vax trolls, many of whom have flooded internet sites with negative reviews. Part of the reason for the coalitions is to make it harder to single out a bar taking a pro-vax stance, noted Shoemaker. Elsewhere, cities are taking the initiative to require either vaccinations or negative tests in businesses. New York City already passed a regulation that patrons wishing to enter indoor restaurants, gyms and performance spaces will need to show proof of vaccination, starting August 16. Los Angeles officials are also considering a policy that would require proof of at least one vaccination to enter indoor businesses.
Texas won't require schools to inform all parents of COVID-19 outbreaks. Vaccinated people are not considered a close contact who should be informed, according to the guidelines. As cases of COVID-19 soar in Texas, all parents won't be informed if there's an outbreak of coronavirus in their children's public schools. Notifications will only be required if a district learns a child was a close contact of someone with the virus. Those parents can then opt to keep their child at home, according to new guidelines issued earlier this week by the Texas Education Agency. Vaccinated people are not considered a close contact who should be informed, according to the guidelines, even though vaccinated individuals can catch and spread the disease. In addition, schools will no longer be required to carry out contact tracing of a COVID-19 outbreak to determine the source of the virus and how it's spreading in the school community. Tracing was dropped because data from last school year revealed very low COVID-19 transmission rates in a classroom setting and data demonstrating lower transmission rates among children than adults, the team noted. But health experts warn that the dangerously more contagious Delta variant of COVID-19, which is currently the dominant strain in Texas, is having a far greater impact on children. We're dealing with a variant that is more contagious, that is potentially more dangerous to children based on the number of children getting admitted to the hospital, Dr. Seth D. Kaplan, president of the Texas Pediatric Society, told the Texas Tribune. Our concern right now is that we were being given guidelines based on old conditions, but we were not adjusting for what the current conditions are, he warned. We no longer have universal masking, and we have a much more contagious variant of virus. The Delta variant isn't only a threat to children, but to their parents, who can end up fighting for their lives in an intensive care unit after contracting COVID-19 from their children, said Kaplan. Numbers have started to explode from COVID-19 outbreaks at summer camps, he added. Texas State Teachers Association President Ovidia Molina blasted the new guidelines as woefully inadequate to help districts keep campuses, students and employees safe. School districts still must report positive COVID-19 cases to their local health departments and the state, but it's unclear if those reports will be linked to the schools and public records that parents can access. Texas Gov. Greg Abbott, R., has signed an executive order banning mask and vaccine mandates in the state, a restriction noted in the T guidelines. Going forward, in Texas, there will not be any government-imposed shutdowns or mask mandates, Abbott said Wednesday. Everyone already knows what to do, apparently, even if they aren't provided with significant information about COVID outbreaks threatening their children.
U.S. women's basketball defeats Japan to win 7th straight gold medal. Brittany Griner scored 30 points, and the United States won its 7th straight gold medal in women's basketball, beating Japan 90-75. Saitama, Japan, AP, Sue Bird capped off her unblemished 17-year Olympics run with a record 5th gold medal. All she and longtime U.S. teammate Diana Taurasi have done on the international stage is win and now stand alone with 5 gold medals, the first basketball players ever to accomplish that feat. After a 90-75 win over Japan on Sunday at the Tokyo Games. Couldn't have asked for a better ending. There's really not much else to say, Bird said. I feel so proud I've been able to wear this uniform for as long as I have, to play alongside this one as long as I have. We've won, and that's obviously the story. But I don't think there's anyone else I'd rather do it with because we just have so much fun and I love you, homie. The U.S. has now won the last 7 Olympic gold medals, matching the country's men's program for the most ever in a row. The men did it from 1936 to 68. With Bird orchestrating the flow of games and Taurasi's scoring, they have been a constant force for the U.S., providing stability for the women's program since the 2004 Athens Games. They have won all 38 of the games at the Olympics they've competed in. The pair walked off the court Sunday arm in arm for the last time, knowing their work was done. While Bird is finished, Taurasi said that she'll be back for a 6th Olympics. The names have changed around the pair, including greats Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, Tina Thompson, Tamika Catchings and Sylvia Fowles, but the results haven't. The Americans are on a 55-game Olympic winning streak dating back to the bronze medal game of the 1992 Barcelona Games. The Americans jumped out to a 18-5 lead behind a dominant first quarter by Brittany Griner. The team lead 23-14 after one as Griner had 10 points, taking advantage of the undersized Japanese team. Japan was able to get within 6 in the second quarter before the Americans went up 11 at the half and never looked back. As the final buzzer sounded, Bird and Taurasi embraced and then proceeded to hug all of their teammates and the coaching staff. While Bird has said she is moving on, the future is bright for the U.S. behind Griner, Brianna Stewart and the 6 newcomers on this year's team. That included Aja Wilson, who will be counted on to keep the streak going 3 years from now at the 2024 Paris Games. Wilson, who celebrated her 25th birthday on Sunday, made her presence felt in her Olympic debut, scoring 19 points in the gold medal game. The victory also made Dawn Staley, the first black women's basketball coach for the U.S., the second woman to win a gold medal as a player, assistant and head coach, joining Ann Donovan. The game also marked the end of Carol Callan's run as the national team director. She started right before the Americans won the first gold of this streak in 1996 and has been the architect for this unprecedented run. Japan, which was the only one of the 11 other teams to ever have beaten the U.S. in an Olympics, won a medal for the first time in the country's history. The team's best finish before Sunday was 5th. The host nation has been on the rise since it hired coach Tom Hovis. He said when he got the job 4.5 years ago that his team would be playing against the U.S. for the gold at the Tokyo Games, and would beat them. The two teams met in preliminary pool play and the U.S. won by 17 points after trailing by 2 after the first quarter. Just like that game, the Americans used their dominant post advantage to control the title game. Japan's biggest player was 6'1", no match for the imposing front line led by Griner, who is 6'9". While the general public and family members couldn't attend the games because of the coronavirus pandemic, Bird did have fiancée Megan Rapinoe in the stands cheering her on. Bird came over and embraced Rapinoe after the game. She helped the U.S. women's soccer team win a bronze medal earlier this week, scoring 2 goals in that game. A large contingent of Japanese volunteers, who had been in the Saitama Super Arena for the entire tournament, sat and applauded their team. No actual cheering was allowed because of the coronavirus pandemic.
Trump DOJ ally reportedly pushed wild theory China may have used vote hacking thermometers. Jeffrey Clark spun the plot to keep Donald Trump in the White House, according to emails obtained by the House Oversight Committee. A Justice Department official appointed by Donald Trump attempted to block results from the 2020 election by pushing a wild theory that votes may have been hacked by Chinese intelligence agents armed with digital thermometers, according to emails obtained by the House Oversight Committee. Jeffrey Clark, who was the head of the DOJ's Civil Division at the time, told senior department officials that he had information indicating the Chinese government could use digital thermometers to change results in Dominion machines that were tallying votes, sources told CNN. Hackers have evidence that a Dominion machine accessed the internet through a smart thermostat with a net connection trail leading back to China, Clark wrote in an email. The push to hold up the election was part of Trump's campaign to not leave the White House, even though Joe Biden had been elected president. Trump told then-acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen in December to just say the election was corrupt, and leave the rest to me, according to notes taken of his phone call, which were also obtained by the Oversight Committee. The imagined connection between China and the U.S. presidential election is a key element of QAnon conspiracy theories. The vote audit in Arizona's Maricopa County, led by Cyber Ninja CEO and QAnon believer Doug Logan, has also examined ballots for evidence of bamboo fibers, which some have baselessly claimed could prove interference by the Chinese government. Clark also wrote a draft letter, published by ABC News, in which he urged Georgia officials to call a special session of the state legislature to challenge the vote there. He falsely claimed in the letter that DOJ had identified significant concerns that may have impacted of the outcome of the election in multiple states, including the state of Georgia. Rosen refused to take any action to block results, including signing off on the Georgia letter, despite pressure from Trump and Clark, noting that there was no evidence of any election fraud. Clark insisted on pushing his claim of Chinese interference even after an intelligence briefing for the Justice Department stating that there was no evidence that foreign interference had affected vote tallies, CNN reported. Trump was reportedly considering firing Rosen at the time and replacing him with Clark so he could remain in the White House. Rosen had a 2-hour meeting on Friday with the Office of the Inspector General of the Justice Department, and provided closed-door testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee on Saturday about Clark's attempts to subvert the presidential election, The New York Times reported. Rosen described exchanges with Clark in which he continued to press colleagues to make statements about the election that they found to be untrue, a person familiar with the interviews told The Times. He reportedly also revealed that he learned Clark had had unauthorized conversations with Trump about using the Justice Department to publicly cast doubt on Biden's win. Clark told Bloomberg in January that he had engaged in a candid discussion of options and pros and cons with the president, apparently concerning the election. He said he couldn't reveal specifics because they were confidential.
Barack Obama's scaled-down birthday bash still has a lot of celebs. The party, which reportedly initially had some 475 invitees, was downsized due to Delta variant concerns. But it's not clear what that means. You may not be very surprised to find out Barack Obama appears to have a lot of close family and friends. The former president's 60th birthday party was set to proceed Saturday as a significantly scaled-back version of the original plan given the ominous threat of the Delta variant of the coronavirus, an Obama spokesperson said this week. But according to photos snapped on and above Martha's Vineyard, the posh New England island where the nation's wealthiest go to be amongst their own, scaled back is still looking pretty impressive. The newly minted sexagenarian will be feted inside a mammoth white tent nuzzled against his family's $12 million vacation home, which sits on 30 acres of oceanfront property. Aerial shots taken Friday revealed grounds that were abuzz with caterers and party planning staff, although presumably fewer than the 200-plus originally expected to work the event. Sofas dotted the outdoor area in intimate clusters, while dozens of sand-colored chairs waited to be unstucked and ringed around tables. On Wednesday, his actual birthday, former First Lady Michelle Obama posted images of her husband to Instagram, writing, "Still turning my head after all these years." The 44th president attracted some criticism when details of his massive party leaked this week amid the nationwide surge in COVID-19 cases. The U.S. is once again recording around 100,000 new cases on a daily basis, marking a return to levels not seen since the fall and winter. Obama was not exactly throwing caution to the wind. He had hired a COVID-19 coordinator to verify that all attendees tested negative before the event, and had asked everybody to be fully vaccinated. The party is also largely outdoors. Still, spokesperson Hannah Hankins said Wednesday that the event would be downsized to include only family and close friends. It remains unclear what size the guest list has been whittled down to. The original plan was to welcome some 475 guests, according to Axios, but the Obama camp never confirmed that amount. At least 8 aides, including Michelle Obama's chief of staff, were tasked with making the unpleasant calls to uninvite people from the party, according to the New York Times. The result was, apparently, some hurt feelings among former Obama administration staffers, who still noticed the likes of Chrissy Teigen and John Legend arriving on the island ahead of the main event. A majority of the former staffers had been uninvited, the Times said, noting that many generally credit themselves with helping create the Obama legacy that has allowed the former president to settle in so comfortably with the A-list crowd. Paparazzi shots published by the Daily Mail also documented the arrivals of Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, Stephen Colbert, and Don Cheadle. Beyoncé and Jay-Z were reportedly marked as attending, the Times reported Friday. Tabloids said that they were already on the island. Legend is expected to perform Saturday night, according to the New York Post. Not Pearl Jam, as had been rumored. John Kerry, Obama's former Secretary of State and the current administration's special presidential envoy for climate, was photographed arriving on Martha's Vineyard by private jet. Larry David, David Letterman, and Conan O'Brien were reportedly among those who were disinvited. Oprah Winfrey and Ava DuVernay bowed out on their own, according to the Times. The White House previously said in a statement that President Joe Biden will not be in attendance, although he looks forward to catching up with former President Obama soon and properly welcoming him into the over 60 club. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, an Obama administration alumni herself, appeared to defend the former president's birthday bash on Friday when asked whether Obama was setting a good example for the American people. Psaki said COVID-19 transmission in Martha's Vineyard was considered moderate, meaning the area was not subject to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's updated masking guidance, which targets counties with high or substantially high transmission. The CDC now categorizes the island as having high transmission, a change that appears to have come Friday, according to local reports. With luck, the only thing guests will pick up this weekend will be the custom baseball caps Obama reportedly had made for the occasion that read, 44 at 60.